Good morning, Boker Tov. Safra Damare Rav. We wish he looks like he wants your parking space. No, okay, whatever it is. Okay, we want to welcome this morning. First of all, I want to introduce this program as being trilingual. We have English. We'll start with English, and we go into Ivrit, and we end up with Yiddish the Winkel. We have English, Hebrew, and Yiddish. And I want to welcome Steve Gardner. I invited him back to join us because I assured him that we would be speaking Mama Lashon, a lot of English. And I also want to ask Zvi whether he found out whether that cousin that broadcast that station out in Boston, whether he could found a sound clip. Didn't really look.
I didn't look.
Okay, but
Look.
we're all, you remember, we listen to what you say, and so this is the language, this is the station that speaks your languages. And okay, again, I don't want to make any political statements. This is a spiritual, in fact, this is really to learn the Nidchei Israel. This is to study the Chofetz Chaim's works. But I do want to say something, as they say, Hamevin Yovin, person will understand. I heard Rabbi Yishmael Meir Druk in today's drasha spoke about this week's parsha, Shlach. Of course, in Chutz La'aretz it's still Bahalosla, but anyway, you could anticipate. He spoke about the pasuk Lo Sasuru Achrei Levavchem V'Achrei Nechem. So the Sifri brings down, he says, Achrei Levavchem Zu Minus, Achrei Nechem Zu Znus. So Rabbi Elchanan Wasserman asks, he says, how could you say that minus is achrei levavchem? After all, if a person's an apikoros, a person who doesn't believe in Hashem, and then he uses his head, his moach. So why is it levavchem? So he explains, and this is Hamevin Yovin, he says really everything that goes according to a person's taivas. A person who realizes that maybe the Torah says something contrary to what his desires are, so he will, in his lave, he will eliminate the Torah and Hashem, and he will follow his taivas. Hamevin Yavin with what's going on in Yerushalayim today. That's number one. To continue that theme, I also heard a shir talking about Moshe Rabbeinu's humility. So, the Yoshua, again in the Parsha, we learned that Moshe Rabbeinu called Hosea, gave him the Yud, and it's given to him the extra Yud. So Rashi and many of them think that the Yud came from Sarai, and they talk about how the Yud came from Sarai. And why take anyone? Medrash says. But it's also brought down, the Targum Yonasan says, do you know what your Targum Yonasan says? It says that it comes from the word Moshe Ish Anov, Ma'od. That really, Anov should be spelt with a Yud, Anov. And the fact that it's spelled without a Yud was Moshe Rabbeinu's Anivus, and he took that Yud and gave it to Yoshua because he knew Yoshua was a Makabil, a person who was passive, and he was concerned that he too would be a Makabil from the Meraglim, he'd be influenced. So he gave that Yud, the Yud that, what was the result of Moshe Rabbeinu giving the Yud, giving it? So he had a, on his, they say a hello, he had a Zohar, he had a, on his, they said from the extra Dio, from the extra ink, that, from the Yud, and all the other things, even the Yikra, the Aleph, all that extra Dio, it caused him to have a cluster upon him, to have that halo that on top of him, that glow, the Karen, right? That was the word I was looking for.
Karen.
So with that, he did not have Gaiva, and again, Hamevin Yavin, as to what's going on today.
So why did it go to Yeshua?
So it went to Yeshua, according to the Dvar Torah that I heard, is Yeshua was a person who unlike Kalev was like a person who could get up and stand up for himself. Yoshua was a makabel. He was a Talmud of Moshe Rabbeinu, and he would listen. So he might be influenced by the Meraglim to listen. So the Yud, even though it's from the Anivus, the Yud from Moshe Rabbeinu who had Gvura, that he would give a little koach to Yoshua. Anyway, so okay, I understand. You got your hands up in the air, saying you don't really follow that, but it's, by the way, that's the Targum Yonas.
I'll tell you what Reb Nissen Elpert says.
Okay, let's hear what Nissen.
I think I've said it before, actually.
It's always worth repetition.
He says Givaldik. He says, why did the Kesha ben Sarah Yoshua, that the Yud from Sarai should go to Yoshua? As Omer, Biglal Shesara Hizot Harishona Batorah Shedoeget Al Eretz Yisrael. He Omer Lo Yirash Ben Oma Hazoisim Beniyim Yitzchok. He's not gonna be Yoresh Eretz Yisrael with my son. So since she was the first to worry about Eretz Yisrael, and Yoshua is the one that comes in and conquers Eretz Yisrael, so the Yud from Sarai goes to Yoshua.
And who says that?
Nissen Elpert.
From Nissen Elpert. And where, from a Sefer?
From the Limudei Nissen.
Oh, Limudei Nissen. Okay, very good. And
did you know Rav Nissen Elpert?
I did not know him personally, but I knew he was a Talmud Muvak of Rav Moshe Feinstein.
Right.
Yes, and of course. So now that we have our Hagdomas, so let's mention whose yahrzeit is today. It is Yehuda ibn Iter Mifaz, and we learn something about the word Iter, Ayin Tes Reish, because I think
Iter Yad.
No, that's with an Aleph, but it's a good try.
Iter was the Orach Chaim's.
Also, the Orach Chaim was also an Iter, and I'm looking where it says that it had to do with. Yeah, here it is.
Iter is a pitchfork.
Itar mimgorshei Castilia Hitparnasu mipsomim mikan shmam Itar Aravit Bosem. Hear that? So you learn.
You learn.
You live and learn. That's spicy. That's a spicy Devar Torah. Here, Shmuel ben Mordechai Ze'ev.
How do you pronounce it in Arabic? I didn't ask for a drasha. How do you pronounce it?
By the way, we're quadrilingual. We just went into Arabic. Ayin Tes Aleph Reish Ba'aravit.
So is that like in Yiddish that if there's an Aleph, it's R?
Here it's both. Ayin Tes Aleph Atar. And Eter. Okay, so we mentioned that his yahrzeit. It's also Shmuel ben Mordechai Zev Huminer. And Haman. What's the name of the car? It's the Hummer. So this is Huminer. Avram Yecheskel ben Yaakov Kopo Reich.
Wasn't there was a store on Rehov Betzalel called Huminer, wasn't it?
Okay, that's it. Could be.
Remember that store?
No, I do not.
Like a hardware store?
Okay.
Huminer?
All I can tell you is when you talk about hardware, I'm thinking Williamsburg, and the name escapes me. Remember, they even had a mikveh kalim. Okay, I'll come back.
In Borough Park.
Yeah, they also had Williamsburg.
Mr. Black.
Black, okay.
Did you know Mr. Black?
Again, I know Nissan Black. He's in our community. You know Nissan Black? Okay, he's a good guy. Anyway, so...
What's his name? Black? What's his name?
I think the word is Wilhelm. There's Wilhelm in ECTU. We had a hardware store in Williamsburg, which had a Kalim mikveh. Okay. By the way, talking about Kalim mikvahs, when my dear Rebbetzin, when we first got married, we had to, we had to tovel some Kalim, and there was a local Rav who had a mikveh in his house, and the item fell all the way to the bottom of the mikveh, and the only way I could get in was to dive in. So that was my first experience in that place, and last one.
Did you have a bathing suit?
Let's put it, no, I did not, and it was okay. Anyway, I got it. Okay, so now we want to do our Tehillim. And of course, I'm always concerned about a critic over here. Whenever I bring anybody new or anybody to him, you don't see the grimace on his face, but he has a thumbs up, thumbs down. But I know, based on the experience, that Perek Nun Daled, that he will enjoy it.
لما الصياح من غينوت مسكين لدافيد فبو السيفيم ويومرون لشاول هلو دافيد مستتر عمانو إلهيم بشمخ وشيعيني وبغفورات خاتدينيني إلهيم شمعت في اللاتين هازينا لمرفي كزاريم قاموا علاي فارتهم بقشو نفسي لو سامو إلهيم لنقدام سيلا إني إلهيم عزير لي أدوناي بسومخي نفسي يشيب هرع لشوريراي با أمتخا هتسميتم بن دفا اسم حلخ עוד שמך אדוני כי טוב כי מן כל צרה הצילני ובאויבי ראתה עיני
אחינו
כל בית ישראל
אחינו
כל
בית ישראל הנשאונים בשורה ובשוויון בין בים ובין ביבשה עמוקם ירחם עליהם יוציאם מצרה לרווחה ומפל ירה ומשיבו לגאולה השתה בגולה ובזמן קריב ונאמר אמן.
Nice house they built here. Nice.
Yes, okay. And Bevo Hazifim, then the mention von der Stadt sich seinen gekommen from Zif. In other words, the name Zifim is the name of a place.
Zif.
Vayomru l'Shaul. When haben gesagt, for Shaul HaMelech, Hallo David mistater imanu. David behalt sich mit uns. Behalt sich is
concealed.
hide yourself. Hide yourself. Behalt sich.
That word.
Okay, so anyway, so that's the word for today, and that's the Yiddish for today. And before we get to our destination, let us talk about the yard site of the Yehuda ibn Iter Mifaz. Ben Reb Yaakov Nolad Befaz, which is in Morocco. The Elid. I wonder if the word, Faz, you put your head, you have the Faz, whatever.
Is that what we call fez?
Fez, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Faz?
Yeah, Faz. Pei Aleph Samach, I figure is Fez. That makes, not Swaz, but the Faz. Anyway, don't make a fuss. Please don't make a fuss about this. Be'Elef 655 Nolad v'niftar be'Yud Tet Sivan shezeh hayom be'Elef 733 be'ir Faz shebarak lo hayu gedolei rabbanim b'tkufat shonot Rab Yitzchak Alfasi Arif Nikra al Shem Ha'ir Rab Rambam b'darko mikardova shachen ba Rab Yaakov Beirav migdolei Sfad haya b'siroto b'gil Yudchet Rabba Shel Faz. Okay, so let's get to the Winkel now. Mir kommt zu dem jüdische Wörtlach. Ich frage mein Chaver, was etwas hat ein neues Wort. Verlangt.
Zu mir und zum Kleinen.
Kleinem, was ist nicht Clemeness. Wasn't there actually a Clemeness, something like that?
Sure.
Clemeness. Yes. So today's word, drum roll.
Oh, so I have to go into, to ask for a new word, I have to go into my Yiddish chat, otherwise it doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And the word for today, gentlemen and ladies,
is...
there it is, Shepstin.
Shepton?
Shepstin. That's a hard word.
Shin Ayin Beis.
Shin Ayin Pei.
Oh, shin.
Tes. Shin.
Shept.
Ayin Nun. Shepch. Chepchen.
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 Okay.
Schepst in mein Ohr.
I know the Shep Nachas. I know about that.
That's not Shep. This is Shepst.
Shepst. I had a Rebbe called Shepshievitz. Shepshievitz.
Oh, the Torah Shepst zum uns jeden Tag.
Speaks out to us.
Whispers.
A whisper. Oh, Sheps. What? Sheps. Lochesh.
Shepchen.
Shepchen. That's an exception to the rule.
Shepchen.
Okay.
Shepchen.
You know, I tried to get audio, Yiddish audio. I tried to download it so that I could put in a word and it would come out, but I was not successful. It sent me many places. But if anybody's listening to the chat, including Peugeot, could come up with a good audio app for me from Yiddish, I would like to, any audio for any language. It's a good idea to hear different dialects. It really is. If there is no app, they should make one.
Well, just ask Claude. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there an application for speaking Yiddish and translating it? Thinking. Boom, 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 boom.
I think you stumped him. There are plenty of places. But audio.
He's still thinking.
Okay.
I think you
didn't wake him up yet. Did he say Modani?
I think he's somewhere else.
Maybe he feels his competition.
I don't think the voice here. Hello? Sorry, we didn't catch that.
Why didn't you ask him to go audio?
Audio Yiddish application. Sorry, we didn't catch that. So there's something wrong with it.
Okay. Now sometimes, AI is Megay Schluffen. Okay, Reb.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful to you every day. And again, we have Steve on our chat right now. So we hope he enjoys what we say. I'm going to continue this year. And I hope you enjoy your walk.
Bezrat Hashem. It's wonderful.
Oh, I should take my towel bag. Thank you. Have a great day. Chaim Tovim.
Chaim Tovim.
Okay, we're marching on to our Makom Kavua, to the place where we continue this year. And today I must say that they said it would be about 68 degrees, and it is room temperature. It's perfect weather. Okay, that I can tell you in terms of the weather. And let's continue our learning, getting over to our place. Okay. Okay. בשנת 1698 תיקן רב יהודה לא להפריד בין נדוניה והבנות. In other words, they have special halls. They call them takonas, halls, to make it easier so a person doesn't have to break the bank when he makes a simcha. So he's talking about dowries, that bavonas, and this is a quote of Yehuda, Reb Yehuda ibn Iter Mifaz, bavonaseno rabim rova anashim asher banot yoldu lahem tsar motzor motzum v'daga al otid miyom leilatan ad higiyam lefarkan. So, Mirz Hashem, people have daughters, they're always concerned how will they afford the dowry. The sibat haminhag hara asher nitpashet b'yamim ha'ela. He's talking about in his days. We're talking about the 17th century. Levilti seit habanot Midlate beit avihem achutza liot leish ki im b'dunya rabbah. He says the only way young ladies could get married is by having a great dowry. Od tosefet meruba, and on top of that, more chafetzim mikesef, silver items with zahav and gold, ubedulach and lead, avonim tovos, and precious jewelry, omos, ba'ayin, or just plain cash, or karka, or even and nowadays, unfortunately, it involves having apartments. But often sharov bali batim nisharim shlulim yotzim nikiyim ikasmim. It causes, unfortunately, many people go bankrupt. L'chein ra'inu ligzor al kol hamishtatchim meyom ha'ala. So he made a gzera for those in his days, and this is in bold letters. Shmayo brings she'ein reshus lahatnot shum t'nai tosefet al nedunya mishum rofen. In other words, it should not be excessive dowries. It should not be impossible dowries that cause, unfortunately, prevent Jewish marriages. Rav Yehuda ben Ita Rechavri Bet Dino Befaz, Rav Avraham ibn Danan, Rav Yaakov ibn Sur, Pasku Bishnat Elef Shvamo Abasrei, Zekenim She'enam Ovdim Parnosam Nechseim Mishbodim Bidei Hanoshim Pturim L'Shalim Misei Hatzibur. You know, people who are on in years, senior citizens who have debts, to make it easier for them, they're exempt from certain taxes. Bavor b'nei chamishim, kavar hayu, tur mafilu hayu lahem nechasim. And senior citizens, you can see he defined, unfortunately there was not longevity because of sickness and illness, and so he said 50 and over. B'mei Reb Yehuda, Gavru Hatzorot al Yehudim b'Morocco, Reb Yehuda Ushlach Lekela, he was, many of our Gedolim were thrown into jail. Kishalo haya bidei hakihila l'shalem aschumem. They didn't have any enough to bail them out. Adorish, they didn't have pidyon shvuyim. The pidyono gozer hamosho smile is rokoto l'guvarayis. So he not only didn't keep him in jail, he threw him into a den of lions, as we see. Daniel, we see we also. Aval Nitzal b'derech Nesim, he was saved from that with a miracle. Chadiga katel. Okay, so we see Rav Yehuda and Yehuda at the ear v'gavru l'mechnafsam kavur arba shanim ha'chazil lefas. Rav Yehuda noda k'ish kadosh od b'nei chaya v'gam hamuslamim nahagu l'ishtateach il kivro haya posei gadol b'doro v'chol psak halach haya over tachas gado לחתימתו, במרתף ביתו נהג למותו רשם ערך כל המשפטים שהובאו לפניו לתת פסיקותיו. רבי יהודה חיבר הרבה ספרים שלא נתפסו. הוא חיבר את הספר מנחס יהודה, דרושס על כל פרשה, הלכות שחיטה בחרוזים, שיר מכתם, שמואל, אוקיי, זהו. עכשיו, עד כאן היורצייט של רבי יהודה אבן טהר יפז. אמרתי שהיום זה גם כן היורצייט של שמואל בן מרדכי זאב פומנר, שנולד ב-1913 ונפטר ב-1977. נולד בירושלים ולמד בישיבת עץ חיים. היה תלמיד של רבי ישראל זלמן מלצר. היה איש מוסר מהיישוב הישן. הוא חיבר עבד למלך, מבוא לתורה, עיקורי דינים, מצוות קב"ה שולחן, עולה תמיד, מור המקדוש. כוונוס נפלאות, ספר קדושה, אני לדודי, עצה בתושיע, לב טהר, mitzvos b'leil seder. Okay, he was pretty prolific. And we'll continue with the next yortzeit, Avram Yechezkel ben Yaakov Koppel Reich. נולד ב-1813, נפטר ב-1888, בן 23. When he was 23 years old, his nismach b'dei Chassam Sofer, he got his smicha from the Chassam Sofer, בשנת 1850, התמנה כרבה של Karlsberg in Hungary. ב-1855 היה בוורבו, ואחר כך רבה של Banovitz, where he was there for 34 years. הוא חיבר את תורת יחזקאל, דרשות, דרש השנה, האורות, בשאלת שובס, חסם סופר. עד כאן היורצייטים של היום. אנחנו מגיעים לנדחי ישראל, פרק מ"ד. אנחנו מדברים על it's important to revere the Torah and its Torah's ways, especially when you're in Chutz La'aretz and you're in dangers of assimilation. It's Emunah HaChazaka Shekiblu Me'avosenu Shero B'neihem Anisim V'niflos Agdolim Asher Asa Lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'Eis She'otziam Mitzrayim. Our forefathers experienced the miracles and actually experienced them when the Exodus, Midbar, when they're in the desert, Agodol, Nora, Mokom Nachash, V'Sorov, place of serpents and fiery serpents and snakes and scorpions, Akrav, Sholichim Shama Abayim Shana. They were there 40 years, Ba'amun Anand, HaHolech Lefneim. They had the cloud of glory which preceded them, Yomam, during the day, Amud Eish, Balayla, and the cloud turned into a pillar of fire at night. Ha'ir Lahem, before there was Waze, they had these GPS from Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ha'ir Lahem, V'amamtir Lahem Lechem Neshamayim, and that manna fell from heaven. B'chol Yom, Kedei, Midaso, everyone according to his behavior, his character. Yom HaShishi, and on Friday, Kiflayim, a double portion of Yom Shabbos, Lo Yored Man, so that on Shabbos you didn't have to collect the man. Klal. Kacha Nahig Lo Shavua Echad. This is what took place in the Midbar, not 1 week, Lo Shuayim, not 2 weeks. Ki Im Kol Arbaim Shana. This took place all 40 years. Eis HaYosem Midbar, when they were in the Midbar. When we're talking about hundreds of thousands of Jews who had faith, went into the Midbar, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu fed them. Umayim, Isur, Chalamish, and water came from flint, rock. V'lo nechsar mahem davar, nothing was missing. V'chein, Neblias, Korach, we're talking about miracles. Korach, V'dasan Aviram, when they rebelled against Moshe, they were swallowed up into the earth. V'shari, Nisan, and Floth, these were all miracles and wonders. Shenasu lahem, O Kamoshin Emar, Parshas V'yaschanan, Parshas Ekev, V'chein Inyan Hamamad Hagadol Hanora Shabbos Kabbalas Torah. Not to mention the fact that at the revelation at Mount Sinai, when they received the Torah, it was, of course, full of miracles. Commotion Emar, okay. Chena Inyan, okay. Kabbalas Torah, Sha'amdu Shishim Ravo, under 600,000 people, Levad, not counting Nashim, women, Banim, and the children who are less than 20 years old, Vizkanim who are over 60 years old, Rom Kulam B'nehem, Amarago, they all experienced the great vision. Lanora Kolos, they visioned the great sounds, Lapidim, and torches, Achar, and the great smoke, V'kol Elokim Medaber Alhem, the voice of God spoke to them, Milah Voseish, from the mountain full of fire, Ad Shekimat Nafsham Yatsa Bidabro, and it was to the point where the first two Dibros were so impacting on them that they literally lost their lives. And of course they experienced the Chiyas Mesim Hechia Osam Vital Shotora. They were resurrected, revived with the dew of the Torah. Isa B'Shabbos Perak Rabbi Akiva V'chein Shamu Isvar Hashem El Moshe Rabbam. They listened to the Torah is given to them by Moshe Rabbeinu, their Rebbe Moshe. Lech Amar Lahem V'Al Yetei Zeh V'Emes Nikbab Libam Emunasam B'Hashem. And through Moshe's teachings, they were inculcated. They were with the belief in Hashem, of Torah, and His Torah, M'Refuas Moshe, and Moshe's prophecy, Nikbal Libam, was implanted in their hearts, Emunasam Hashem, the faith and belief in Hashem, Ub'Toraso, and His Torah, B'Nevuos, and His prophecy, Bavor Yishma so that the people would listen, B'Divrei Yimcha, Ve'agam, B'Chol Yomin L'Olam, and they would believe in Hashem forever. Because of Rambam, B'igroso, and Rambam wrote in his letter, She Hiftiach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem promised, Nichnas Be'arvos, and he went into he guarantees, Shekol Mi Shehu Mizeri Israel, whoever is Jewish, Yaminu B'Moshe, that they, as part of their DNA, will believe in Moshe, V'Toraso, and his Torah, Hem U'B'neihem, they, their children, B'nei will go by genes down through the next generations, Ad Olam, forever. The Kocha Nischazcha Emunaso, this is the way their belief strengthened, Ad Shekirvu, Moshe Lemar, until they actually went to Moshe and said, Kuravata, why don't you approach Ushma, Et Kol Asher Yomar Hashem Elokeinu, everything that God will say, that Hadavar Elenu, Et Kol Asher Yidaber Hashem Elokeinu Elecha, everything that Hashem tells you, V'shamanu V'asinu, we shall listen and we shall do. L'man lo yishkach hamamed midor achron, that we won't forget the revelation, what we had experienced at Mount Sinai forever. And with that, I wish everyone Yom Tov, Chaim Tovim.